Hello and how's it going, everyone? It is Skullzi here. Your pale gaming news vampire is back with yet another Bethesda news roundup video, where I'll be breaking down all the most recent Bethesda news, rumors, and speculation. And again, somehow I have a surprising amount of stuff to talk about in today's video. Some of it is reasonably big, some of it is kind of small. You know how it goes when it comes to this kind of stuff. I try to bring you guys up to date with literally everything there is to know regarding the most recent Bethesda happenings, and again, that's what we're going to be doing today. So let's not waste any more time and let's get to today's information. First off, real quick, I do want to mention there is a Microsoft earnings conference call going down today at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time. At the time of me recording this video, it's basically 1:45 p.m. Eastern Time, so we are nearing that moment. However, I have not obviously recorded this video before that happens, so we may get some more information about future Bethesda stuff and that acquisition with Bethesda at this Microsoft conference call. But I'll update you guys on that in tomorrow's video if we get any new information or anything worth talking about. Next thing I want to talk about is pretty interesting, but it is a mobile game, so we're going to get through it kind of quick because the majority of my audience, I'm sure, doesn't care too much about mobile games. However, I just find it interesting, like I mentioned in yesterday's video when I was talking about Alpha Dog Games, one of the low-key, unnoticed, and untalked about studios underneath Bethesda Softworks. We never almost hear about Alpha Dog Games, and yet again, another mobile game that we haven't heard anything about is coming from Bethesda and is actually in early access right now, and it's called Mighty Doom. And like I said, it's strange how Bethesda has these low-key mobile games and a low-key mobile studio that we never hear anything about, but I mean, they're still pumping out games, still pumping out content, and like I covered in yesterday's video, Alpha Dog Games are actually expanding greatly since this Microsoft and Bethesda acquisition. So Bethesda definitely cares about these studios and this content. It's just they don't market it and we don't hear about it, which is kind of strange. Maybe they market it in Asia or somewhere else, but the thing is, this Mighty Doom game doesn't seem like it's for a Eastern audience, and it seems to be cloned from another popular mobile-style top-down game called Arc Hero. I haven't played that game, but it seems like, according to a lot of people talking about Mighty Doom, that this Mighty Doom is somewhat of a clone or a playoff of Arc Hero, and this is kind of interesting because I remember Bethesda actually sued someone for doing the same exact thing they're doing right now with Mighty Doom and Arc Hero when someone tried to make a game similar to Fallout Shelter, or at least using implementations and like just visual style that Fallout Shelter used. But basically, Bethesda sued Warner Brothers over a Westworld mobile game that was similar to Fallout Shelter, and according to Bethesda was a blatant ripoff of Fallout Shelter. So to see Bethesda kind of doing a similar thing with Arc Hero and Mighty Doom is kind of ironic, if not a bit hypocritical. And thanks to the courtesy of GameXBeats, a YouTube channel who apparently got early access to this or something, they uploaded some gameplay footage of this, which is what you're seeing now and possibly have been seeing the entire time I've been talking about this. But I mean, the game doesn't look anything too extravagant unless you really just like Doom and you want to jump into another Doom title. But either way, that's everything I want to talk about in terms of this new, mysterious, and unheard of Bethesda mobile game that's related to Doom of all things. Next up, Tyler McVicker is kind of being a little crappy in my opinion and isn't reacting well to a lot of the articles and just coverage related to his Fallout 2 New Vegas statement. In case you're not familiar with this, I covered this in like a video a few days ago where I broke down a statement made by Tyler McVicker, who is a noted industry insider, about a statement he made about Fallout New Vegas 2. And yes, despite what he says, he is a known industry insider. He seems to be on a strange defensive stance regarding all this, which is odd. But I don't want to get into like a shaming or crap talking match or anything, but the thing is, when you look up his name, a lot of people are calling him an insider, and insider is a catch-all terminology used in the gaming industry by people who have had credible inside information about things that haven't come out yet, which Tyler McVicker is known for, especially in terms of Valve. So despite what he says, he's definitely an insider, and it's an odd take for him to say that because he definitely knows he's an insider, as well as he knows that the statement he made about Fallout New Vegas 2 was definitely made about Fallout New Vegas 2. It wasn't about the Fallout Frontier mod. He did mention the Frontier mod right after mentioning Fallout New Vegas 2, which is weird, but then later on he tweeted about when he would expect Fallout New Vegas 2 specifically to come out, which is later on in the decade. Obviously that's not related to the Fallout Frontier Frontier mod in any way, shape, or form. Fallout New Vegas 2 was something he definitely meant to say, and is a definitely separate entity from Fallout Frontier in terms of what he was speaking on, and he mentioned Fallout New Vegas 2 in a giant diatribe of future content he'll talk about on his channel, which all involve inside tips and things that he has information on that we don't know yet. So it's strange that he's going on some kind of defensive right now. He had to have known he would get a lot of attention for stuff he said in that video, and now he's saying that soon he's going to start saying random things about Fallout that are made up just to see how the media reacts. And first of all, from someone who has been referred to as an insider before, even though I don't consider myself one at all. I've had inside sources that gave me tips, but I'm definitely not an insider. But from someone who works in the gaming industry and is kind of a low-key gaming journalist, he's taking a weird stance, and by saying you're gonna say fake stuff just to see how the media reacts is pretty, like, disrespectful first to a lot of people who actually, like, try to be a credible journalist, and also it kind of low-key makes you look immature, and if you're potentially going to harm your reputation, to lash out at the community for reporting on your exact words when you could have structured them differently if you didn't want this to happen, then that's on you. But either way, I don't want to shame him too much, but be aware there might be fake Fallout information going out there now by this guy at some point in the future. Maybe he said this because he wants to cover himself up, and he is indeed going to give us true information about a Fallout game, but then he by him saying that it's not true, he's covering his tracks, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this isn't true, everyone. I said it wasn't true before, even though low-key it is. I don't know what he's doing, but I figured I'd talk about this real quick because people have been bringing this to my attention. He's being a bit low-key weird, but let's move on to the next thing. I don't think Fallout New Vegas 2 is going to happen at all. Maybe he knows about a future Fallout game, I don't know, but let's move on to the next thing. Now, I gotta activate glasses mode for this one because this is probably the reason you clicked on this video. Bethesda probably low-key teased the Hammerfell setting for the Elder Scrolls 6 again, like within the last couple of weeks, and no one really even noticed, including myself, until I went through all the previous Bethesda tweets, and this tweet is actually a tweet from the official Elder Scrolls Twitter account, and this tweet was back on January 12th, and as you can see here, it says, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, but it says, Ovanka is celebrated on the 12th of Morning Star. Prayer is offered to Stendarr for a merciful year, and obviously this is about a lore-relevant holiday within the Elder Scrolls universe. And an interesting thing about Ovanka is it's the day that the people of Elakir actually offer their prayers to Stendarr in hopes of a mild and a peaceful year, and it's actually a very holy holiday in Hammerfell. And even though January 12th is the equivalent to Morningstar 12th in the Elder Scrolls universe, it's still very interesting that the Elder Scrolls is talking about a holiday relevant to Hammerfell right around the same time that they definitely teased Hammerfell in a tweet that definitely had to do with the teasing the Elder Scrolls 6's setting. So this is just more low-key Hammerfell evidence, except this is a little bit more speculative than their previous The Elder Scrolls 6 tease tweet. Next up, a quick thing I just want to mention here very fast is apparently Starfield already has another subreddit dedicated to it, all about its actual lore actually, and there are some very interesting threads in this subreddit, and it's just cool to see people already taking a deep interest in Starfield's lore. I know I would love to learn as much about Starfield's lore as possible, and I plan on actually doing Starfield lore content as well, but if you want to join a new subreddit as it's starting up right from the beginning that has to do directly with Starfield's lore, now is the time, because all of Bethesda games have pretty good lore, especially the Elder Scrolls, so I'm hoping Starfield will be the same. Next up, according to a lot of people in the industry, this is the most expected list of all the games you should expect to see from Bethesda in Game Pass in 2021, and here's the list. You can see there's a lot of interesting stuff here. Fallout 3, which is interesting. Fallout 4, of course, would be on there. All the Wolfenstein games, pretty much every Bethesda game that you could expect to see is going to be on Game Pass, and I believe from that point forward, basically 2021 will catch up Game Pass with all the previous Bethesda content for the most part, and from that point forward, Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6 and a ton of other stuff will be on Game Pass at launch, because that's what Microsoft and Bethesda have essentially said. They said all games will be on Game Pass, and it's interesting that they said that because they're not supposed to talk too much about what would happen with this Microsoft-Bethesda partnership. However, maybe that Game Pass thing is a separate entity from the acquisition, but either way, this is the actual list of what you should expect from Bethesda on Game Pass in 2021. Remember, Game Pass is also on PC, and not just the Xbox, so yeah. And finally, actually today, January 26th, there is a new update for Fallout 76, which brings an increase to your stash and a variety of different improvements for your inventory and UI and just a bunch of different bug fixes and more. If you want the full list of updates and improvements and bug fixes and stuff, you can go over to fallout.bethesda.net, as you can see here, and you could read it for yourself. It's great that they increased the stash limit to 1,200 pounds, because I'm a Bethesda hoarder. I try to collect every item in every Bethesda game, and I need as much stash space as possible. They also introduced some quality of life improvements, like being able to sort your inventory easier, figure out what's weighing you down. There's new inventory tabs, there are new challenges and awards, and it's just, again, pretty awesome to see Fallout 76 consistently getting new content and updates, because the community is great for that game. The game actually turned out to be whole night and day switch from how it was on launch, and I hope the game continues to grow and gets new content and a bigger player base, because the community right now is probably one of the best online communities out of any game I've played, and I'm pretty picky with online games, but I'm definitely getting into Fallout 76 more and more every single time I play it. Finally, yesterday, Bethesda interviewed a very talented modder named Adelan, who made Yellow King, Orange Moon, and a lot of Skyrim dungeon mods. Very talented modder, and it's just great to see Bethesda actually pay attention and give shoutouts and put great talented modders on the spotlight. Bethesda has always, for the most part, treated their modding community very well, giving them assets to creation engine tools and stuff to make mods, and they've also even hired modders as well. So if you're a talented modder, one of the best things you can do is just keep making great mods, and maybe you can get hired over at Bethesda, or at least you'd have a pretty more substantial resume when you're applying. Either way, that's everything I wanted to talk about in today's video. Like I said, some of this was small, but some of it was still pretty interesting nonetheless. But that's everything I want to talk about today. As always, you can expect me to break down the most recent Bethesda news here on the channel, as well as other stuff. I'm going to be talking about Grand Theft Auto 6 and a few other new games as well every once in a while, so you may start to see other content mixed into my Bethesda content. But that's everything I want to talk about today. As always, if you enjoy the content, be sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn notifications on. And if you want to help grow the channel and the community, you can share the video, you can share the channel, get people to subscribe, as a YouTube algorithm really doesn't help smaller channels, and they only really grow if the community actually grow the channel and share the content. So huge appreciation to everyone that's been sharing my content lately. And speaking of appreciation, thank you to these amazing people for going above and beyond to bring you content like this. I have the updated version of this list being worked on right now. I've gotten a couple other supporters over the last couple of days as I was updating this list, so I promise the new update to this list will be tomorrow. So if you do want to get your name added to the updated list, which will be featured in tomorrow's video, and basically from tomorrow's video forever until I update the list again, you can support the channel over on Ko-fi, Patreon, or here on YouTube as an exclusive channel member. Links for all this and more are down in the description below. And as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to tune in next time when Bethesda announces Starfield Legends and Starfield Shelter.
It just works.